We know that running a small business isn't easy and it takes a lot of work and perseverance. And when your business only has a few employees, talking about safety and core certification can be or feel like something that is unnecessary. A few things that run through the mind of a small business owner, and I've worked with a lot of them over my years, is we're running too small to need a formal safety program. And we're going to talk a little bit why that is probably something that you need to kind of change your mindset around. Putting time into resources into your safety program takes away from the more important things that we need to do just to survive. We completely understand that. But ultimately, we want to make sure that everyone does go home safe at the end of every day. Audits take time, and we're already stretched too thin. It's true. It's going to be expensive, and we'll talk a little bit about how that will not be the case in this pursuit of certification. And most of our members are small business owners. This is the one thing that we really want to take a moment to reach out and let people know. And we understand the pressures that they do face. From my background, I come from manufacturing, having worked in lots of different types of organizations over time. You know, the backbone of British Columbia and really Canada is small and medium-sized businesses. And so we know obviously what it takes to run those businesses, and we continue to work with our members to understand how we can best support them in their journey towards attaining core certification with minimal costs, with minimal interruption, and feeling the real benefit from that certification. So today, we've invited two small businesses who have earned their core certification to the Occupational Safety Standard of Excellence. And a CORE for, again, we talk a lot about acronyms here. So CORE is the Certificate of Recognition, which is widely recognized across other organizations. And here at the at Manufacturing Safety Alliance of BC, we have the Occupational Safety Standard of Excellence, which really takes some of those real high risk environments, especially in food and beverage, and we address them through an expanded content within our elements to really ensure that we've addressed all the risks and concerns within an organization, no matter how big or small. And so through that, we're going to talk about it, and we've invited Nathan Cohen, co-founder of and president of Cohen Brothers Industries, and Nicole Odermatt, Office Administration and Certification Lead for Vision Compression and Machining. So please join me. And I also am going to invite our own OHS manager, Dr. Hassan Nedahande, to join us in the discussion today. So let's start with some introductions if I can. So maybe starting with yourself, Nicole, maybe you could introduce yourself, share just a few seconds of who you are and what your organization does. Oh, you're muted there, Nicole.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
I came on with Vision Compression about 6 months ago. We do oil and gas machining and compression, and I took on the OSCE certification, which was done in 2 months and honestly wasn't too terribly painful.
Good. Great to hear. Excellent. Well, welcome and thanks for joining us just to share from your perspective. So that's great. And Nathan, your journey with Cohen Brothers.
Yes, so I own a welding and fabrication business with my younger brother. We manufacture metal products primarily for the construction industry. We sell pipe protectors and bullers and everything for underground parking garages that we ship across Canada into the US. And we've been part of this program for certified for 5 years. And we started a good 8 to 10 years ago with the gap safety kind of introduction and kind of have just progressed down the through the system to get certified.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both, Nathan and Nicole, for joining today. Just quickly, we don't need to introduce him. He's large and live, but just giving him a moment here. Hassan, introduce
Yeah,
yourself.
thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Hassan Neda Dahande. I'm leading OHS Audit Department. As you may know, the main function of our department is number one, to qualify all internal external auditors by providing the internal audit course and also certifying the individuals as an internal auditor and also as an external auditor. We also arrange all the core OSSE audit for all employers, regardless their size and the type of products and scope they have. Thank you.
Great. All right. Well, excellent. Let's get going into today's webinar and dispelling the myths, I will call it. So we have myth number one, businesses are too small. So today we're here to address obviously these myths. And with the core certification, OC, the Occupational Safety Standard, we sometimes find that there may be this idea of roadblocks, or that we're too small to really think about this certification. It's too big of a program for our small organization. So Hassan, can you start off by sharing maybe some of the reasons why micro small companies would be well positioned for this type of certification?
Sure. The first thing and the first fact that we should always consider is the requirement of the safety, OHS safety that we call COR or OSSE is really scalable from very small business to large employers. So as you know, if you have less than 10 employees in Manufacturing Safety Alliance, we categorize you as micro. Between 10 and 20, 19 would be small, and more than 20 would be large. So the fact is, for each type of employers, we have customized requirements, and requirements is customized and adopted, based on the size of the companies and designed in a way that really suit, your needs and without, bothering you too much. This is number one. Number two is, as we have a dedicated requirement right now, if you go to our website, you can find out that we have dedicated checklists just for a small business and also for micro business and large. So the requirements are completely different and simplified based on the needs of the employers. So you will have a chance to have a customized program as well. What I mean is having a full 100% formalized system in all areas of OHS is not really necessary for the smaller business, and we have a chance to give more flexibility to micro small business to make a portion of their system a little bit, with less formal matters and so, and we need less records and so, and unless, they are really dealing with the high risk areas and the hazard that you need to control in the other areas, and there would be lots of flexibility. This is another fact. And the third thing that I just wanted to mention here is, although at the first look, it looks like that, all the small businesses, they have more challenge to implement the system, but smaller businesses, are more agile, regarding, how they respond, respond to the responsibilities and roles that each and every person in the company has. For instance, in a small business, many people have several hats on their head, and they can easily handle all the programs and all perspectives of the program with a few person, specifically as the requirements are pretty simplified and in many areas combined to be more suitable and appropriate with a small business. It could be easily manageable by the less people there. And lastly, I just wanted to emphasize that in order to really prove that how easy is that system, we already set up lots of resources dedicated just to a micro small business. All you need to do is you just need to send us a quick request. We will provide you all the customized, templates that you need, all the workshops that you need, and actually in the other opportunities in this webinar, I will go through more details. But here, I just wanted to make sure we have all resources that you really need to certify your system almost free. Maybe the question in your mind is how it is possible to have our system and our company certified almost free. And in the other sessions, I will talk about that a little bit more. But right now, I just wanted to announce that specifically for a small business, as you mentioned, Wayne, as the majority of the employers in BC are small, there are lots of fund and support from WorkSafe VC and also from Manufacturing Safety Alliance dedicated just to small business. And I really invite everyone, to take the opportunity, and we are here to support you in this journey. But just to recap, I would say the requirements are really adapted and customized for a small business, and the resources and templates, everything is also adapted for a small business. And all you need to do is just to get the ball rolling. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Hassan. As you know, like audit is a framework, and
Yeah.
you need to be able to show that you do what you say you do. That's really the essence of this program.
Yeah.
So turning to Nicole and Nathan, small businesses, Nicole, you started off saying that, you guys were able to certify quite quickly. Maybe give us some thoughts on how a small business like yourselves, both Nathan and Nicole, can navigate through certification fairly quickly. I mean, obviously, there's going to be roadblocks. I think I don't want to oversimplify saying that, it's easy. If it's easy, everybody do it. Not everybody does it. But I think there are some tips from those that have done it. And so maybe take a moment to just maybe share your thoughts on what it's like to journey as a small business and maybe a few tips along the way. So, Nicole, I'll start with you.
Sure, yeah. We had lots of help from Hassan, and I'm trying to remember who the other person that I was in contact with.
Peter?
Um, Pardon?
Peter?
Yes, Peter. Yeah, for guidance on where to go. We were fortunate enough that we did have a little bit of a program in place already. So just had to modify that and ensure that we were actually following what we said that we were following. But it was quite like I've done core audits before through Energy Safety Canada, and I did find the layout was really well laid out and easy to follow and figure out what the requirements were. And yeah, much quicker than in the past. Honestly, not that difficult.
Oh, good, good. Well, I'm glad your experience was quite positive, and that's great to hear. Nathan, what about yourself?
For ourselves, yeah, like we as a welding and fab shop, I'm just a blue collar guy. So the paperwork side of things, all that, I'm better with my hands than the keyboard. So when we started a little bit different, we started just kind of as a pilot program with the Gap, and we kind of just started from absolutely nothing and just kind of built up over time. And then finally decided, hey, yeah, let's get into the course program and certify ourselves, which really helped us because we didn't have a lot of systems and structures in place. And
Yeah.
so, some of the resources like employee orientation videos and WMIS stuff, and just coming up with the policies and different things on, grinder safety and different things like that. It helped us work through that as we just didn't have, literally, we had nothing in place. So, kind of all the way from zero to being certified, which was a big benefit for us because we just didn't have that structure in place, or the ability to create those structures.
Great. So did you feel that the leaning on MSABC for those templates was really beneficial to help move you through this process?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because frankly, a lot of stuff we didn't even know where to start. So, and kind of when we hit a roadblock or saying, okay, what do we do next? Then the team was able to kind of say, okay, well, let's look into this, or let's fine tune this, and certain things where an example of just coming up with policies on the forklifts and different things like that. So.
Excellent, excellent. That's great. I mean, again, it's I think wearing the lots of hats can be challenging, especially in a small business. So you're working on your program today, and then you're getting a customer order rushed out, and it's that constant kind of oh yeah, I got to get back to it. But if we can make it simple for you, then it's easy to pick up where you left off and continue on your journey. So hopefully that was good for you guys. Moving to myth number two. Small businesses don't need formal systems. And I think this is where, any safety management system, or just to what you were saying, Nathan, you don't know what you don't know. And so by having something, it is a bit of a plan. Maybe I'll go a different way on the question for you. Is has the program, the certification, helped you on the day-to-day when it comes to dealing with certain safety issues within your organization?
Yeah, no, most definitely. There's first off, we deal with a lot of large corporations. So, Finning, IKEA, different places like that, they're expecting us to have systems and structures in place. So, it definitely helps us with that when they're asking for policies and different things.
Yeah.
When we're on job sites, different things like that, that definitely helps. And also just, it definitely has given my brother and myself just a little bit, more overall, as we're walking through the shop, different things like that, say, hey, there's cords on the ground, or there's hoses, or these things. Just it's made us a little more aware of what's going on around us, and then being able to say to the guys, hey, we gotta clean this up, or let's be careful of this. Um, you know, uh, like I said, forklift inspections, all these different things that we never would have done before, and now we're doing them. So.
Perfect. Perfect. That's great. Nicole, for yourself having, what has that system done for you in your organization? How has it impacted your organization now that you're certified?
I think similar to Nathan, a lot of the clients that we work for require ISN certification, and by having the program, we naturally have what's required
Yeah.
for ISN. Just have to sometimes word it in a different way.
Sure.
And I think also for the employees, it is like a sense of, I don't know, confidence, security for them, that they know that we're watching out for them and that we have all of these SOPs and everything implemented literally for their safety, and they're not afraid to ask about it now because we've just made it so open, the conversation, and like, here's everything, ask us whatever you need, and here's our program.
I like that. I mean, that's an important part where, you start to create, it's like a trust, like the employer is taking care of them and they feel that they can share their thoughts about it. So that's great to hear from a small business perspective. Nathan and Nicole, another question here. How, sorry. I'm going to move on to that next question. What has made has this program made your continuous improvement easier or harder? Like, so again, one thing about being certified is you have to look at it every year. You can't just kind of put that SOP up on the shelf and forget it and you're done, right? It's like a prize. No, you got to take it down every year. You got your maintenance audits. You got to look at your continuous improvement. So what? Um, have you found has been some of the benefits of that it is an annual continuous improvement kind of program?
I guess for myself, there's certain things, I guess like one thing that would be, I guess, gets easier over time, or you're more aware if if we purchase or invest in a new piece of equipment or tool, just creating, safe work practices when we're using that stuff, uh, training new employees, keeping them up to date on the different tools and equipment, even the ongoing stuff like fire drills, we got to do a fire drill every year, and those are things that's like I say, you're like, okay, we need to do this because you do lose track. Even though we're only 5, 6 people, the people still cycle through every year or two or three or whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, no, we've never actually chatted with one of the employees or something about a fire drill. Like you're saying, you came in after we did it, and so you're saying, there are things where you're saying, oh, stuff like that. You're saying, oh, this guy never actually has gone through a fire drill with us, or what are the toolbox talks, different things like that, with earbuds and stuff nowadays, and being aware what's going on around you. So it definitely keeps you kind of up to date on some of these things where, you know, rather than just saying in passing, you've kind of made a little bit of a formal um, uh, effort to keep all this stuff in check.
Yeah, that's great. Nicole, what about yourself?
I think it's easier now that the footprint is there and you can modify, right? So if things change, it's not starting from scratch, it's being able to just adapt, I guess. And similarly, the knowing that there's going to be an audit versus just having it sprung upon you, you're a lot more on top of it and like, okay, we have to do our safety meetings, we have to do this, and um, kind of now keeping your eyes more open for things that you can change beforehand and be proactive rather than reactive with it.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe for the both of you, because you are such a small business, it's not like you have a dedicated safety person. So this helps you kind of know that, hey, nobody's going to come and remind me, right? I've got to kind of take it on ourselves. And so because it is structured and there's a requirement, you kind of have to, live in it all the time as a small business, but there is at least a framework and a direction for you. So that's it. That's great. How has having a um, system in place help you respond to near misses or incidences more effectively?
I think similar as before, the employees are more open to report near misses and incidents because we've talked about it and it's not like a scary thing how it would be before we had a program and you don't know how to report first of all because it's not brought up at all. Whereas
Yeah,
now talking about it minimum formally once a month,
yeah.
they are more likely to report, or they'll just come talk to me, be like, hey, this happened. Is this something that we need to talk about, or should we just, you know, figure out what we can do to avoid it next time?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Nathan, what about from your perspective?
I think from our perspective, when it comes to the near misses, I think there's a little bit more openness about just safety conversations. So I think it opens the door to be a little bit more like, hey, that was maybe not a good idea. Like we didn't get to the near miss situation, but
Yeah,
you're like, hey, that wasn't a good situation. You know, we had a guy, as an example, we had a guy that worked for us that was an ice climber. So he would climb waterfalls and stuff in the winter. Well, before you know it, he's climbing up the steel rack and this and that, and you're like, whoa, whoa, like this is not a good idea. You know, we shouldn't be climbing up the metal rack to get a piece of metal. Like I know you can do it, and you know that's nothing, you know, on a physical level, but that's just not a good idea. And so then you kind of say, hey, you know, let's shut that down. You know, we didn't, if it was left unchecked, eventually someone's going to get hurt doing stuff like that. So those are the things where you say, hey, let's have a quick conversation. Let's just say, you know, we got forklifts, we got cranes, you could get two guys on it, we got ladders. Like, let's just go about things like that a different way, which has definitely reduced near misses because you're saying, well, this, you know, scenarios like that are just, it's not a good idea. Let's try to do it differently.
yeah, both very interesting perspectives. I think curious, do you think that for both of you, I mean, obviously you've been doing your roles for a while, but do you feel that having certification just creates a different kind of awareness to these kind of situations where maybe you wouldn't have thought about it? Especially in your case, Nathan, on your last example, maybe prior to this, prior to having a safety management system in place like COR OC, maybe would you have thought about it quite the same way? Has it changed the way you think?
Uh, yeah, I think it's changed the way I think, especially for my brother. You know, I'm more on the business operations side. My brother's, you know, more on the shop floor. And like I say, it's just something we definitely think about a lot more. The conversations come up a lot more. You know, you have young guys that are apprentices, you know,
Yeah,
some of the safety stuff that happens, it's shocking. And
yeah.
so we had one guy one time that put a young guy, he put a grinder in his mouth, bit the blade, climbed over a fence and down a step ladder with the grinder plugged in and holding in his mouth. And you're just like, whoa, these are things you don't think they would happen, but they absolutely happen. And so you're just trying to
Wow.
combat those things on a regular basis.
I mean, I've got some good stories, but that one is probably up there
It's
for
up there. And we're like, whoa,
you
that
know.
is crazy.
I got to be honest. That's new for me. Nicole, I mean, from your perspective, I mean, near misses. I mean, do you think that by having the OC core certification program in place, that maybe that it's created a different awareness in your organization about reporting near misses?
Yeah, I think so. I think because now there's accountability now that
Yeah.
everyone is aware that we're having to report this. They feel, yeah, like they have to take some accountability.
Yeah.
Um, that's probably my main takeaway for that.
Yeah, I think ownership, right? It's a sense of like, that we all work here, and I think both of you have given some good examples of it. Where, yeah, we want to transfer ownership. I mean, it's tough, right? The demographic, males 18 to 25. I'm not sure where the brain goes, but sometimes it makes odd decisions, right? But again, creating awareness, like they're not infallible, they are human, they are mortal, and that some of their actions are in fact quite dangerous and can lead to injury to themselves or others. So awareness. Okay, good. I like it. Hassan, before we move on to the next one, one of the first steps in certification process is the readiness review. Maybe just give us a brief kind of understanding of how it helps businesses in their journey to build a safety program, and also how it will provide that long-term continual improvement towards their safety programs.
Yeah, thank you. Readiness review is a process that helps us understand where we are and how far we are from the ideal situation in terms of the health and safety requirements. In the readiness review, all we need to do is we need to download the checklist that we have based on the size of organizations that we are. And then we can just compare whatever we have with the questions that explain the expectations. In order to make it easier to understand where we are, each questions of the checklist actually is based on the scoring system. And at the end of answering all the questions, the system would calculate your score, and that score is your baseline. So in order to pass your audit, you need to achieve at least 80% of the scores and you can also easily understand how much gap do you have, with the ideal requirements that you already see in the checklist. So I encourage everybody to just scan the QR code there. We already have a 1 hour video about how we can conduct the readiness review, what is the benefit of the core OC. In that video, I just explained each and every steps of the readiness review as well. But to answer your question, the readiness review concept is basically comparing our system with our requirements of the checklist and then quantify it. And after that, we can easily make an action plan to fill the gap and make our system ready for certification.
Great, thank you very much. All right, moving on to myth number three. Um, One thing that we find, many people have kind of said is that maybe that audits are challenging, time consuming. So both Cohen Brothers Industries and Vision Compression Machine have been certified since 2021. And just last year, Cohen Brothers was awarded the Emerald Pinnacle Award, and Vision Compression was awarded the Sapphire. So congrats to both of you. This means that you've done at least one certification audit, and every year there is also that maintenance audit that's required. So maybe Nathan, Nicole, what challenges have you faced when it comes to the audits, and how have you overcome them? Anyone?
I think one of the challenges is time. As a business owner, there is never enough time. You can work 24 hours a day and you still run out of time. So you definitely have to prioritize, and you have to set aside and kind of go through it and stick to it, and the pro and con is there is a deadline. You kind of have a deadline that you're trying to hit. So that creates a level of pressure. But at the same time, if you don't have a deadline for something, I find that it always gets pushed off because there's always something that's going to go higher up the priority list and go in its place. So it's a bit of a two-edged sword there, but I think that would be the biggest thing is just you have to allot time, you have to put the effort in, you have to prioritize it, and to do it. So
Good. Do you find you lean on your brother during this time?
uh, a little bit on the brother because there is say, hey, are we all up to date with forklift inspections? With one of the things I thought of too, even stuff like the fire inspection, where hey, have we gone through, checked the fire extinguishers? Are the emergency lights certified for this year? And those as a small business, those are for sure the things that slip through the cracks.
No.
And so it's, oh yeah, no, let's make sure we're all good to go on that stuff again for another year. So from that standpoint, it is a bit of a checklist to just make sure everything's certified for another year and good to go. So
There's a saying, do work your plan and or plan your work and work your plan. So do you find that you kind of set a bit of a calendar for yourself so that there's reminders along the way so that it doesn't just kind of sneak up on you and go boom, it's audit time?
yeah, yeah. So we have, for us, for example, some things we had to tailor for us being a small business. Certain things like forklift inspections. The forklift doesn't get used every day. It could sit there for a few days before it's used. So to do a daily inspection doesn't make sense for us. But to do a weekly or monthly inspection, then we're on top of some of those things. And those are some of the things you have to tailor for your organization. Things like the bullying practice when there's only five of us here, we're two brothers working together. There's always going to be someone's got an opinion about something. So, you're working through some of that kind of stuff and tailoring it to the size of organization. And when you're small, you are working hand in hand with other individuals regularly. And so, good camaraderie and those things are important. And so some stuff like bullying policies or even drug policies, you have no drugs, but when you're working next to the guy every day, you're pretty aware of what's going on. So it works. You kind of work through that stuff. So
Good. Well, hopefully when you're working through your bullying harassment training,
yeah,
the wrenches are down,
that's
right?
right. That's right.
No wrenches allowed. Good. Nicole, from your perspective, what about from your side?
Um, I think the biggest challenge was I came in October and the audit was due in December.
Wow.
So yeah, that was, and then learning a new role and of course the time part of it, trying
Sure.
to get it all fit in and see where we were at for inspections and everything. And as the person doing the audit, there's only so much you can actually do, and
Yeah.
being able to get not compliance, but the constant communication with the employees of what needs to be completed until you're in that routine and that maintenance. That's probably the trickiest part. But once the audit is done, then what you have to do for next year, and it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, I think once you've settled into your role and you've got at least one cycle under you, it'll probably be a lot easier. That's tough to come in October and then audit in December, especially when you're using a different audit program because you were with energy safety before.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So different program altogether. So, but sounds like you did a good job. So congrats on that. So good. Hassan, how can our team help companies, small companies, through the audit process?
Sure. The process is pretty straightforward. One of the very beginning step is please just contact us and just fill out a two-page online form. That is what we call ICOR registration form. That form really helps us understand your business and the scope of activities and everything. And after that, I really encourage everyone to watch that 20 minutes video that I already recorded, and our team already provided the link to that video in the chat box. I encourage everyone to watch that. And after that, please let us know to set up a one-on-one workshop with your company or with the dedicated person that you would like to assign for that process. Or it might be one person or a team or group. We will go over all the requirements through the workshop and make sure that you are really comfortable and on the same page about the intention of each and every question of the checklist. And after that, all you need to do is just to quantify your current status, as I said. You just need to answer the questions and like understand where you are. And even if you don't have time and are busy, because I know that in the smaller businesses, people are really overloaded, with their current job and task, we would be more than happy to assign someone from our department to help you to quantify all the questions. We will just set up a few sessions with you without bothering you too much. And at this stage our target is to really understand all the gaps that you have compared with the requirements of the checklist. Then the next step is to help you and support you to fill the gap. In order to do that, we would be more than happy to provide all the templates that you need. Besides the template, in some cases, you may need training courses. We already have 3 or 4 complimentary free of charge training courses that we are happy to really give you the link, and you can just register yourself in that e-learning courses and take the course. And even if you have other advisory services, please let us know based on the specific needs that you have, something like ergonomic assessment or even some simple things like noise assessment and measurement. We would send you a team of safety advisors to help you go over all those requirements as well. And the last step is to actually certify one person in your company as an internal auditor. What I mean by internal auditor is a person who come to our internal audit course. Then we will qualify and certify that person as an ambassador of the health and safety on behalf of Manufacturing Safety Alliance. Then that particular person in your system can just confirm all the score again and just send all the audit package to us along with all the supporting evidence that we need. That's it, and your system would be certified. That person could be any of you or any other person that you think is appropriate, to go through that training courses and so. But the point is, the whole system is based on the continual improvement concept. I mean that at the beginning, we are not expecting a perfect company to call you a certified company. As far as you achieve, minimum 80% of the total score, you should be good to certify your system. And after that, we also help you to improve the performance of the health and safety in your organization as well. So that's the general roadmap that we can go through. And if you want to really start the first step, if you want to register your system in ICOR, all you need to do is please just scan that QR code. In that web page, you would see a link to actually register for ICOR. Just click on the link, fill out the form, and then we will be in touch with you for the rest of the process. And I promise you the process will be painless, and we are with you to go through that process as smoothly as possible. Thanks.
I'm not sure about painless. There is work
We
to
do
do.
our best.
Yeah. Um, I think the big thing about the program is the Alliance. We're coming on our 20th year. We have a tremendous amount of resources that we vetted to ensure they meet
Yeah.
compliance for regulatory requirements. You don't have to do that. Our team does that. We make sure that it's all done for you. The templates are there. You can customize them to make them your own. We have a large training portfolio that's available to you. Lots of courses that have been designed specifically to meet the requirements for certification as well as compliance with regulatory requirements. And then I think the big part is the safety advisor. It doesn't matter how small you are or how big you are. We have a very large team that continues to grow with lots of different expertise. So you don't feel that you're doing this alone. So, like Nathan and Nicole, you have the good thing is that you're not by yourself doing this. You have an association that's here to help support you. I've been in manufacturing before I joined here for 25 plus years. I never heard of the Safety Alliance. I wish I would have known who they were and how they could help. It would have been very helpful in my journey because it is quite difficult to find support, credible support that can meet those regulatory requirements and get you on the path to the right direction. And COR's not easy. It is a work. There's work to be done. But I think that we've simplified it enough to support members in getting that certification. There's a comment here, if you don't measure it or can't measure it, it's impossible to improve it. We say that all the time in manufacturing. Maybe quickly here, Hassan. Um, I'm a big proponent on measuring what is improving. In a small business, when you're looking at a core certification, you know, there's only a couple parameters that you're probably looking at near misses, incidences, and recordables.
Yeah.
So, what other tips can you give how small business can monitor their overall safety performance?
Yeah, actually, the point is there are lots of data that we can imagine. Some of the typical data that everybody knows would be your injury rate or lost time. And so, what besides that, we can also think about other sources of the data as well. For instance, even some simple thing like the result of that audit that you are doing every year could be another good indicator to help you understand where you are. Okay. And besides that, I encourage everyone to log in to their WorkSafe PC account. And over there, there is a link regarding your report card. I noticed that many employers don't have time or even they are not aware that there is a report card, comprehensive report card with lots of numbers there. And you can just borrow those numbers and just, look at that to help you understand where you are. So all in all, what I say here is please look at all perspectives of your system. Sometimes you need to make sure all the actions or decisions that you make in your management team, in your regular meeting, is really being done in the timely manner. That could be itself another good way to quantify where you are. And also you can always look at the directly safety related performance as well to help you understand, your status in the company.
Yeah, thanks, Hassan. I think, the real big one is that employer's report card is a lagging indicator, but it is a
Yeah,
good thing to look at. And so we can provide
yeah,
you the SOP on how to look at that on the WorkSafe site.
yes,
But downloading that is a good indicator of what has
mhm,
happened in the past.
yeah,
Could be also a path on where you want to put your corrective actions. One point that Hassan had mentioned is, if you look at the continuous improvement, I like to flip it the other way. It's really where did you not score well in the previous audit? That's really where you want to probably focus your time on. Because if you did
yeah,
everything else, as long as you've maintained it, you really should be focusing on where you lost points and seeing how you can gain those points. And that could be a path towards your continuous improvement. So just giving, some guidance along the way, I think is good because again, what I love about it is it's not a set it and forget it. It's not the George Foreman grill. It's continuous improvement. Let's keep, looking at how we can, our businesses are evolving, changing the equipment, the people, the processes, they all change. And so have we captured that properly within our safety systems? Let's talk about quickly here as I'm closing in on my time. Last myth, cost and time. Nathan, Nicole, what have been, in your opinion, the costs or maybe the financial benefits that your business has received from the core program? Because I think this is a really important part of it because, yeah, it takes you time, takes you away from obviously focusing on the other things that are prioritized in your day. But is there a cost? But also, was there an inverse benefit for you in that? So maybe Nicole, I'll start with you.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, we have to be ISN certified for most of our work as we do a lot of, well, we do gas compression for oil and gas companies. So without being certified, we would only be doing our very small machining jobs. We wouldn't have any of those clientele.
Yeah.
And also just the lost time injuries of workers. It has decreased. I mean, they weren't being reported before as it wasn't, yeah, but decreases that. So you're saving money there and also saving on time with employees because they know where to look for any SOPs rather than kind of trying to figure it out and wasting time that way. So saving money in all regards.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. I mean, I always say to the manufacturer, it's not like we have a spare person waiting in a closet to jump out when somebody gets hurt, right? And we're down a person, right? That's a cost. Now somebody's also trying to double shift, so to speak. They're maybe managing two stations or two work centers or whatever it is, and that also can be quite risky to an organization. So I think by keeping everybody safe, by ensuring that they have that information at their hands. Those are really good examples of ways to benefit from the program. Nathan, how about yourselves?
I think for ourselves, same thing. The costs associated are obviously the time, and then if there's labor associated to completing those tasks, you have those expenses, obviously. You might encounter some additional costs in um, maintaining systems and structures. Like I said, annual fire inspections, different safety things like that you're upkeeping. So if you didn't have any safety policy or program in place, you might not encounter any of those costs, essentially because you simply were not doing them. So there is absolutely a cost to maintaining it. But at the same time, you similar to what Nicole had said is, you have these larger customers and different things, and they're looking for policies, different things on safety policies and things when you're pricing or quoting on a job, or once you've got the job to solidify everything, and you're saying, oh, well, I have that all paperwork all done. I have those policies. I have all those things already created. So you can just submit them in a timely fashion. And you're saying, so it definitely streamlines and makes that stuff easier, as well as some of the larger companies will have their own different third-party systems if they're in different sectors or industries, and you're saying, okay, well, we can quickly meet the requirements of those different safety organizations and things like that as well. So there's definitely an advantage there, and yeah, like you say, less injuries. Injuries absolutely cost money when it comes to if an individual is not here because he's at home injured, yeah, how are you going to accomplish the task that needs to be done? And someone's got to work harder or faster or longer, right? So you always have that in the back of your mind as well.
Yeah, no, those are great examples from both of you. I think there is a cost without a doubt. And then I think the offset, of course, is you do, once certified, receive the 10% rebate from WorkSafe BC, which, can go towards some of those costs. Um, but I think overall, I think it's by keeping workers safer, by having a process. And into your case, Nicole, where you talked about it, like we couldn't get some of this work if we weren't core certified. All right. And that's very typical. We see that a lot in the BC Construction Association, that HSA certifies core, because if you're delivering on site, if you're doing any work on site, if any part of construction requires you to be core certified, even in some cases to even bid on work, you need to be able to show your core certification. So while that's not mandated here in manufacturing, I think there are some groups that are bound by those requirements. And again, it's an entry level point of having a safety system in place so that they know that they're partnered with a safe company. So that's important. Thanks for sharing that. Um, I did want to just kind of, I'm looking at the time here, and I wanted to hit a couple questions from the audience, and I'll open it up for our panelists here today. So, um, maybe to Nicole and Nathan, I'm going to rapid fire a couple quick questions at you here. Do our members that are asking the question, do you need a dedicated in-house safety person to start the certification process? From your guys' perspective, how did you do it?
I'm just a guy. So, like I say, I've done the accreditation to be the auditor. So I've done that myself. I did that myself as the business owner because people do come and go, and so I knew that I obviously would be a constant. So I've done that myself, and which has worked well. And yeah, it's a little bit challenging, obviously, but I made it, so I'm
Good.
here. So
I love it. I love that you took the initiative, but you also knew from a continuity
Yeah.
standpoint that you could be the backbone of that system. So that's great.
Mhm.
Nicole, your perspective.
Yeah, like mentioned earlier, I think in a small business, everyone wears a lot of hats. So it's whoever chose the shortest straw. But because I had a background in safety, I volunteered myself. But I do, I do all the AP, all the AR, all the invoicing, everything other than the actual physical labor of building our products. And I was still able to do it in 2 months. So I think that's um, saying quite a bit as to that anybody could do it if they want to.
Yeah, if you're focused and dedicated, yeah, you bet. That's great. Great answer. Nathan, how long did it take Coen Brothers to get certified? Curious.
Well, we were a longer journey. Like I said,
Yep.
we got a phone call out of the blue one day, asking us if we wanted to be part of this pilot program. And so we were skeptical at first, but we said, okay, well, let's try it. And so then we started on this gap safety, which was kind of starting from nothing, and then progressed through the system and decided to go core certified. And eh, we had already started uh, fulfilling a bunch of the requirements. So ours was kind of a slow and steady approach rather than a rapid completion. Um, but like similar to Nicole, I think just a few months once you actually kind of say, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I like it. Two different perspectives,
Yeah.
on how you approached it. So I think it gives the audience here just an example of what it might take. So that's great. What would you say the impact was with your team and your culture after certifying compared to before?
I guess for myself, I think it is the safety culture does flow downhill. And there's things where an example would be the forklift inspection. I can do the forklift inspection, my brother can do it, but if you hand that off to, if my brother takes the time to train some of the other guys, say, hey, this is how you do it. Then when they're operating it, they're saying, and you don't have to be an expert to see if there's a brake light burnt out or the lights aren't working or, there's a puddle of oil on the ground. So it helps them too when they're operating on a day-to-day basis saying, hey, this doesn't seem right, or, oh, we need to address this just keeping an eye on things, right? Having a basic understanding. And so that's the different tools and equipment as well. You're saying, hey, we looked over it. It looks safe. This is what you should be looking out for on a daily basis. And so, cords on the ground, all these things, I think when you're kind of doing these audits, guys are saying, hey, yeah, no, that's a hazard. We should do something about that.
Oh, good. Good. Changing the mentality. How about yourself, Nicole? How does it change your culture?
I can't exactly speak on it as we had already been certified before I was here, but I do notice a difference. The more that we talk about it, the more open we are, the more that people feel, like I said before, able to talk to you and bring things up. So I think that's probably just the comfortability of it.
Okay, great. Lastly, one other question here. What safeguards are in place to guarantee auditor objectivity? Again, you're self-certifying, so this is where it does become a little bit around your objectivity to ensure that the same people or person are conducting the audit doesn't result in a familiarity bias. So again, there's biases that can be here. So that again, what is your thoughts from a self-certifying kind of perspective? How do you keep that objectivity?
I guess for myself, I think the process brings a level of accountability.
Yeah.
When you're certifying the fire extinguishers and the lights and all that, was not my opinion whether the fire extinguishers are good or not. It's a third party's deciding that. Um, and like I say, I think if you do pass off some of these things to other guys to do stuff, like I said, the forklift inspections, they're not self-serving in a sense where they're just saying, I'm just an unbiased opinion, looking at the forklift, saying, does it look safe? Are the lights all working? And so I think when you hand off a few of those things and the toolbox talks and stuff, I think it does take away from the biased opinion perhaps that might be there.
Yeah, yeah. Nicole, what about from your perspective?
I think once the audit is submitted and you're going through it, if there were any questions, Peter would call me or email me and
Yeah.
ask for explanations. So I think it's very thorough. And the auditors are good at their job. So if you miss anything or if they think maybe not, or just want a clarification,
Yeah.
they're very forward with that, which makes you in turn be more thorough with your auditing and making sure that everything is factual, not feeling.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And again, we do the QAs on the quality assurance on the audits, which is an important process of verification. So, and we do ask for that clarification. But I think from your perspective, that's great to see, um, and and knowing that you're both kind of adjudicating that you're not trying, that you're not using your feeling versus the fact. So that's great. Well, guess what? We're out of time. That hour went by real quick. I don't know if you've noticed it, but I'm like looking at the time going, wow, went fast. So I just want to take a minute just to again thank you both taking time out of your busy days. I know that you're wearing lots of different hats. Nathan, I remember when you guys, the Coen brothers family, the whole team came to get your OC certification. So again, congrats to you guys. And Nicole, great to have you on board, obviously with your company and having done your first certification. But thank you both for taking time out and sharing from your perspective what it takes as a small business to become OC certified, OC core certified. And it's this kind of dialogue that really helps other members realize that they too can achieve this or do it. It does take work, but it's not as hard as we think. So thanks again for your time today. So with that, if I didn't get to any of your questions, I think there was a few more that I didn't have time to get to. We will obviously get them answered and share them along with today's recording. And before we end, just a few announcements I wanted to make. Tickets are selling fast for our 2026 Safety Pinnacle Awards, which is again what we're talking about with our core OC certified companies. There is this progression of continuous improvement, and so we recognize that at our Safety Pinnacle Awards. So join us for a fun and inspiring evening at the Sky Hangar on June 18th, just a couple weeks away. Celebrate your team's achievements in health and safety and meet other BC leaders and companies that are leading the way as well. So look forward to seeing you there. Tickets are selling out quite fast. We're excited about where we are at, and we look forward to seeing you there. Watch for an email with a link to the recording of today's webinar, and please share your feedback and topic ideas in the survey as you leave. It's really important that we hear from all of you on topics that will be of interest or of relevance so that we can get the answers, the panelists, and share that with you. All right. So with that, I thank you again for joining us today. And if you have any other questions, you can contact us at the safetyalliancebc.ca and check out our website. And we look forward to seeing you again sometime soon. Have a great day, everyone.